The morning sun rose over like it did every other day. Children ran through the streets of New Seoul, the largest human city on the colony world. Mothers called them back for breakfast. Fathers left for work in the mining facilities. It was a normal day. It was supposed to be a normal day. Admiral stood on the bridge of her ship, the Eternal Dawn, reading reports from the outer colonies. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. 30 years in the fleet had taught her many things. She knew how to fight. She knew how to lead, but nothing had prepared her for what came next. The first explosion hit the northern district of New Seoul at exactly 7 in the morning. People looked up at the sky and saw fire falling like rain. Ships appeared from nowhere, hundreds of them, each one carrying weapons that humans had never seen before. They had come. Commander was eating breakfast with his daughter when the ceiling collapsed. He pushed her under the table and covered her body with his own. Glass and metal fell around them. When the shaking stopped, he looked outside and saw his city burning. "Papa," his daughter whispered, "what is happening?" Did not answer. He could not answer. He grabbed her hand and ran. On the Eternal Dawn, alarms screamed through every corridor. Officers shouted orders. Screens showed images of destruction that made grown soldiers cry. Admiral watched it all with a face made of stone. "How many ships?" she asked. 342, her first officer replied. His voice was shaking. "They came out of fold space without warning. Our defense satellites are gone. Ground forces are. They are not responding anymore." Closed her eyes for 1 second, just 1 second. Then she opened them again. "Get me a channel to the surface. Find anyone who is still alive." Commander carried his daughter through streets filled with smoke and screaming. Bodies lay everywhere. Some were people he knew. Some were people he had shared meals with. Now they were gone, erased from existence by weapons that turned flesh to ash. He found a shelter built into the side of a mountain. Inside, hundreds of people were hiding. Children cried for parents who would never come. Old men and women sat in silence, their eyes empty. A young woman with blood on her face was trying to send a message, but every transmission was blocked. "Let me try," said. He was a communications officer before he retired. He knew tricks that others did not know. It took him 20 minutes to find a frequency that was not jammed. When he finally connected to the fleet, he heard Admiral's voice. "This is the Eternal Dawn. Identify yourself." Commander retired. "I am in Shelter 7 with approximately 400 survivors. Admiral, they are killing everyone. Men, women, children. They are not taking prisoners. They are not making demands. They are just killing." There was silence on the other end, then spoke again. "How long can you hold?" Looked around the shelter. He saw frightened faces. He saw children who should have been in school. He saw his daughter holding his hand so tight that her fingers were white. "Not long," he said. "They will find us soon. Admiral, you need to tell Earth what happened here. You need to tell them everything." "We will come for you," said. "We will send ships." "No," his voice was firm. "Do not waste lives on a rescue that cannot succeed. There are 12 million people on this planet. Most of them are already dead. Save the fleet. Save Earth. And when the time comes, make them pay for what they did." Admiral wanted to argue. She wanted to promise him that help was coming. But she was a soldier, and soldiers do not make promises they cannot keep. "I understand," she said. "Your sacrifice will not be forgotten." Admiral said, and his voice became soft. "I have one last request. When you find the leadership, when you stand before them with the power to destroy everything they love, I want you to remember this moment. Remember the children in this shelter. Remember the families they burned. And then do what needs to be done." "I will remember," said. "I swear it." The connection went dead, looked at his daughter and smiled. He picked her up and held her close. Outside, the sounds of destruction were getting closer. "Papa," she said, "I am scared." "I know," he replied, "but I want you to remember something. No matter what happens, no matter what they do to us, they cannot break what we are. We are human, and humans never forget. The shelter door exploded inward. Light filled the room, so bright that it hurt to see. Turned his back to it, shielding his daughter with his body. His last thought was of Earth, of the blue planet where his parents were born, of the billions of people who would soon learn what happened on. On the eternal dawn, Admiral watched the last life signs from the planet disappear. 12 million people, gone in less than 6 hours, the fastest genocide in recorded history. Her first officer approached her carefully. "Admiral, the fleet is leaving. They are not pursuing us. What are your orders?" Did not look at him. She kept her eyes on the screen, on the planet that was still burning. "Set a course for Earth," she said. "Maximum speed. And when we arrive..." Finally turned to face him. Her eyes were dry. Her voice was calm, but something behind those eyes had changed. Something had broken and something else had taken its place. "When we arrive," she said, "we tell them everything. We show them every recording, every death, every child that screamed for help that never came. And then we ask Earth a simple question." "What question, Admiral?" Looked back at the burning planet one last time. "We ask them if they want to keep pretending to be peaceful. We ask them if they want to keep hiding what we truly are. Because they think they destroyed a colony today. They think they sent a message to the galaxy, but they made a mistake. They woke something that was sleeping, and now that something is very, very angry." She turned and walked toward her command chair. Her crew watched her in silence. They had never seen this look on her face before. They had never heard this tone in her voice. "Send a message to Earth Command," she said. "Tell them has fallen, tell them 12 million are dead, and tell them it is time, no more hiding, no more pretending. The galaxy wanted to see monsters." She sat down and gripped the arms of her chair. "Now they will see them." The eternal dawn turned away from the burning colony and jumped into fold space. Behind it, continued to burn. But in the ashes of that world, a fire had started. A fire that would spread across the stars. A fire that would make the wish they had never heard the name human. The message sent before he died was simple. Just 2 words. 2 words that would become the battle cry of an entire species. "We remember." The eternal dawn arrived at Earth 3 days after the fall of. Admiral did not sleep during those 3 days. She watched the recordings from the colony over and over again. She memorized every face, every name, every scream. By the time her ship entered Earth's orbit, she had become something different from the woman who left. Earth's High Command gathered in a room deep beneath the mountains of Old Korea. 12 admirals, 40 generals, the president of the United Earth Government. They all watched in silence as played the recordings on the main screen. When it was over, no one spoke. The president, an old man named, wiped his eyes with a trembling hand. He had the same age as some of the children in those recordings. "How many survived?" he asked. "Less than 2,000, replied. "They escaped on transport ships before they could destroy the spaceport. The rest are gone." General stood up. She was the youngest general in Earth's history, known for her sharp mind and even sharper tongue. Today, her face showed only grief. "They have sent a message to all galactic governments," she said. "They claim humans attacked them first. They say we were building weapons in secret. They say the destruction of was self-defense." "Lies," Admiral said. "We have evidence. We have recordings of their ships appearing without warning. We have proof that they targeted civilian areas first. They did not come to fight soldiers. They came to kill families." President raised his hand for silence. The room fell quiet. "For 200 years," he said, "humanity has hidden its true nature from the galaxy. We showed them traitors. We showed them scientists. We showed them peaceful explorers who wanted nothing more than friendship. We did this because we remembered our own history. We remembered the wars we fought against each other. We remembered the weapons we built that could destroy worlds. We swore we would never become that again." He stood up slowly, his old bones protesting the movement. But I look at these recordings and I ask myself a question. Did we hide our nature to protect the galaxy, or did we hide it to protect ourselves from what we might become? Sir, General said, are you suggesting we reveal the Black Fleet? The words hung in the air like smoke. The Black Fleet. Every officer in the room knew those words. Every officer had taken an oath never to speak them outside this chamber. President looked at Admiral. Show them, he said. Pressed a button on her control panel. The main screen changed. Instead of recordings from it now showed something else entirely. Ships, thousands of them, waiting in the darkness between stars, hidden from every sensor, every scanner, every eye in the galaxy. The Black Fleet said, 4,000 warships, each one armed with weapons that the galaxy has never seen, weapons we built in secret, weapons we swore we would never use. Captain Minu leaned forward in his seat. He was a young officer, barely 30 years old, assigned to the intelligence division. Until today, he thought he knew all of humanity's secrets. How long has this fleet existed? He asked. Since the day we first met alien life, President replied. We smiled at them. We traded with them. We learned their languages and studied their cultures, but we never trusted them because we knew what we were capable of. And if we could create such darkness within ourselves, we knew others could do the same. Lieutenant stepped forward. She was a weapons specialist, one of the few people who knew about the Black Fleet's true capabilities. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. They think they destroyed a defenseless colony, she said. They think humans have no warships, no weapons, no way to fight back. Every species in the galaxy believes the same thing. They see our cargo ships. They see our science vessels. They laugh at our tiny defense force. They have no idea what is waiting in the dark. General pulled up a tactical display. It showed the location of every military installation, every fleet, every shipyard. We have been watching them for decades, she said. We know their patrol routes. We know their communication codes. We know where their leaders sleep. The moment we activate the Black Fleet, we will have complete tactical advantage. And what happens after? Captain Minu asked. If we reveal ourselves now, the entire galaxy will see us as the monsters they always feared. Trade agreements will collapse. Alliances will break. Everything we built in 200 years will be destroyed. Admiral turned to face him. Her eyes were cold. 12 million people, she said. That is what they destroyed in 6 hours. They did not ask questions. They did not negotiate. They killed children in their beds. They burned hospitals full of sick people. They erased entire families from existence. She stepped closer to Minu. You ask what happens after, I ask you this. What happens if we do nothing? What happens if we let this crime go unpunished? The galaxy will see humans as prey. Every species that wants our resources, our technology, our worlds, will know that they can take what they want without consequence. President raised his hand again. We face a choice, he said. We can remain hidden. We can swallow our grief and continue to smile at a galaxy that murdered our children, or we can show them what we really are, not traitors, not scientists, not peaceful explorers. He looked around the room at every face. We can show them the species that nearly destroyed itself 100 times, the species that created weapons capable of ending all life, the species that looked into the abyss of extinction and learned to love the darkness. Sir, General said, if we activate the Black Fleet, there will be no going back. The galaxy will never see us the same way again. Good, President replied. I do not want them to see us the same way. I want them to be afraid. I want them to look at humans and remember what happened to the... I want every species in every corner of every galaxy to know one simple truth. You do not touch our children. You do not harm our families. You do not test our patience. Because if you do, we will become the nightmare you always imagined. He turned to Admiral. Admiral, you are hereby given command of the Black Fleet. 4,000 ships, 2 million soldiers, every weapon we have ever built. Use them. find the, and teach them what it means to wake a sleeping monster. Stood at attention. Her heart was beating fast, but her voice did not waver. Yes, sir, and our rules of engagement. President was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke words that would change the galaxy forever. No rules, no limits, no mercy. They wanted to see monsters. He turned away from the screen that still showed the hidden fleet. Now they will see them. Admiral saluted. She walked out of the chamber and headed for the transport that would take her to her new flagship, the Silent Fury. Behind her, the other officers began preparing for a war that the galaxy never expected. Captain Minu caught up with her in the corridor. Admiral, he said, I request permission to join your crew. Looked at him, why? Because I had family on, he said, a brother, a sister-in-law, 2 nephews. I watched them die in those recordings. I watched them burn. His voice cracked. I need to be there when we answer. I need to see their faces when they realize what they have done. Nodded slowly. Welcome aboard, Captain. We leave in 6 hours. Tell the crew to say goodbye to their families. When we return, the galaxy will know our name, and they will never forget it. The Black Fleet began to move. 4,000 shadows drifting through the darkness between stars, heading toward space, heading toward vengeance. Earth had made its decision. The monsters were awake. The Empire celebrated for 7 days after the destruction of. Their leaders gave speeches about the weakness of humans. Their news channels showed images of the burning colony and called it justice. Their people danced in the streets, happy that the strange, soft creatures from the distant world called Earth had finally learned their place. High Commander stood on the balcony of his palace and watched the celebrations below. He was tall for a, with dark blue scales and eyes the color of fire. He had ordered the attack on. He had watched from his command ship as millions of humans died, and he felt nothing but satisfaction. The other species are sending congratulations, his advisor said. They say we have shown the galaxy what happens to those who challenge the Empire. Smiled, and the humans, what are they doing? Nothing, High Commander. Their fleet has retreated to their home system. Their colonies are evacuating. They are running like the cowards they are. Good, turned away from the window. Let them run. Let them hide on their little blue planet. When we are finished absorbing the resources from, we will come for them too. And then the human species will be nothing but a memory. But did not know what was coming. None of the did. 3 weeks after the fall of Outpost 7 stopped responding to communications. It was a small station on the edge of space, home to 200 soldiers and a few dozen support staff. When a patrol ship was sent to investigate, they found nothing. The station was gone, not destroyed, not damaged, just gone, as if it had never existed. The command assumed it was a technical failure. They sent engineers to rebuild the station. They did not send soldiers. They did not think they needed to. A week later, Outpost 12 disappeared. Then Outpost 23. Then the supply station at the asteroid field. One by one, facilities at the edge of space vanished into the darkness. No distress calls, no sensor readings, no evidence of attack. Just silence. Specialists stood on the bridge of the ghost ship Whisper and watched another station die. His ship was invisible to every scanner in the galaxy, coated in materials that absorbed light, heat, and radiation. The crew worked in silence, communicating through hand signals and encrypted messages that lasted less than a second. Station neutralized, his second officer reported. No survivors, no witnesses. Nodded. He felt no joy in what he was doing. He felt nothing at all. He had turned off his emotions the day he learned about, the day he saw the recordings of children burning, the day he swore an oath to Admiral that he would hunt thee until none remained. Move to the next target, he said. Maintain radio silence. The enemy must not know we exist. The Whisper slipped back into the darkness between stars. Behind it, another piece of the Empire had ceased to exist. High Commander received the reports with growing concern. 17 outposts gone in 2 months, 300 ships missing, thousands of soldiers vanished without a trace, and still no evidence of who was responsible. "This is impossible," he said to his war council. "Ships do not simply disappear, stations do not vanish. Someone is doing this. Find them." His admirals looked at each other nervously. None of them wanted to speak. "We have searched every system," one finally said. "We have scanned every corner of space. There is nothing there. Whatever is attacking us, it does not appear on any of our sensors." "Then build better sensors," slammed his fist on the table. "I do not care what it costs. I do not care how many resources it takes. Find the enemy and destroy them." But they could not find what they could not see, and the humans did not want to be seen. Not yet. Captain Minu led a squad of infiltrators onto a communications hub. They moved through the corridors like shadows, killing guards before they could raise alarms. By the time the hub's commander realized something was wrong, Minu was already standing in front of him. "Who are you?" the commander demanded. "What do you want?" Minu said nothing. He simply placed a small device on the main communication console and activated it. Within seconds, every piece of data in the hub was transmitted to the Black Fleet. Every military secret, every patrol schedule, every weakness in the defense network. Then Minu pulled out his weapon and shot the commander between the eyes. "That was for my brother," he said quietly, "and for his children." The infiltrators disappeared as quickly as they had come. They found the bodies hours later, but by then it was too late. The humans knew everything. Admiral reviewed the intelligence reports on the Silent Fury. Her eyes moved across screens filled with data about fleet movements, weapon systems, and defensive positions. "There is protected by 300 ships," Lieutenant reported, "plus orbital defense platforms and ground-based weapons. It will not be easy to breach." "I do not want easy," replied. "I want certain. How long until we have enough information to guarantee victory?" "Another month of reconnaissance, maybe 2. Nodded. "Then we continue the hunt, keep striking their outposts, keep destroying their supply lines. Let them feel what it is like to live in fear. Let them jump at shadows and see enemies in every corner. And when they are exhausted, when they are paranoid, when they no longer trust their own officers, then we will show ourselves. Then they will see the face of their destruction." Panic was beginning to spread. Rumors traveled through the population about ghost ships and invisible enemies. Soldiers refused to serve on stations near the border. Commanders demanded more protection for their fleets. The celebration that followed had turned to fear. High Commander addressed his people on every channel. He told them there was nothing to fear. He told them the Empire was strong. He told them the attacks were the work of pirates, not humans. But late at night, alone in his chambers, stared at the map of his empire and watched another outpost go dark. He remembered the reports about human history. He remembered reading about their wars, their weapons, the things they did to each other before they reached the stars. He had laughed at those reports. He had called humans weak and primitive. Now he was not laughing anymore. Specialist received new orders from Admiral. The next phase of the operation was beginning. No more silent attacks, no more invisible strikes. It was time to let them see what was hunting them. He gathered his crew on the bridge of the Whisper. "For 2 months we have been ghosts," he said. "We have killed without being seen. We have destroyed without being detected. But now the Admiral wants the enemy to know fear, real fear. The kind that keeps them awake at night. The kind that makes them see enemies in every shadow." He pulled up an image of a military parade scheduled for the next day. "Tomorrow, 10,000 soldiers will march through the streets of their second-largest city. Their families will watch. Their leaders will give speeches. And we will be there, invisible, watching." He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "We will not attack them. We will not kill them. We will do something worse. We will show them that we could. We will let them know that at any moment in any place we are there, and they cannot stop us." The crew nodded in silence. They understood. Death was easy, fear was harder, and fear would break the long before any weapon could. The hunt was no longer about revenge. It was about terror. And the humans were just getting started. The people of Prime woke up to darkness. It was supposed to be morning. The sun was supposed to fill the sky with golden light. Instead, there was only shadow. Millions of stepped outside their homes and looked up. What they saw made them fall to their knees. The sun was gone. In its place, they saw ships. Thousands of ships, arranged in a perfect grid, blocking the light from reaching their world. Human ships. High Commander ran to his command center, still wearing his sleeping clothes. Officers were screaming at each other. Alarms were ringing through every corridor. On every screen, the same image appeared. The Black Fleet, revealed at last, surrounding the Laika cage. "How many ships?" demanded. 4,000, his tactical officer replied. His voice was shaking. "They appeared from nowhere, all at once. Our sensors did not detect them until they were already here." Stared at the screens in disbelief. 4,000 ships. The entire Navy had only 500. Even if they called every ship from every corner of their empire, they would still be outnumbered 8-1. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Humans do not have warships. They are traders, scientists, peaceful explorers." They lied. His advisor stepped forward, his face pale with terror. For 200 years they lied to everyone. They showed us what they wanted us to see, and we believed them. A communication request appeared on the main screen, hesitated, then accepted it. Admiral's face appeared. She looked different from the recordings had seen after. There was no grief in her eyes anymore. No sadness, just cold, empty patience. "High Commander," she said, "I am Admiral of the United Earth Fleet. You destroyed our colony you killed 12 million of our people, men, women, children. You burned them alive and called it justice." Tried to speak, but his voice would not come. "I am going to give you one chance," continued. "One chance to surrender. One chance to face justice for what you did. If you accept, we will take your leaders to trial. The rest of your people will be spared. And if we refuse," finally managed to ask. His expression did not change. "Then we will demonstrate what happens when you hurt our children, and your people will learn why the galaxy should have feared us all along." Felt something he had never felt before. Fear. Real, deep, terrible fear. But he was still High Commander. He had led his people to victory after victory. He could not show weakness now. "You threaten us with 4,000 ships," he said, forcing confidence into his voice. "But we have weapons too. Our planetary shields are the strongest in the galaxy. Your fleet cannot touch us." Smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "Lieutenant," she said, "show the High Commander what we think of his shields." On the surface of Prime, the shield generators began to fail. One by one, they went dark. The protective barrier that surrounded the planet flickered and disappeared like a candle in the wind. Watched in horror as his greatest defense collapsed. "How?" he demanded. "How did you do that?" "Your shield technology is based on crystals from the asteroid field," replied. "Crystals that we have been quietly removing for the past 2 months. Right now, every shield generator on your planet is running on empty reserves. You have no protection. You have no defense. You have nothing." The command center fell silent. Officers who had once celebrated the destruction of now looked at each other with terror in their eyes. They had thought they were safe. They had thought their shields would protect them forever. They were wrong. "This is your last chance," said. "Surrender now, face justice for your crimes, or face the consequences." Looked around the room. He saw fear everywhere. He saw officers who wanted to surrender, who wanted to beg for mercy. But he also saw his own face reflected in their eyes. The face of a commander who had ordered the death of millions. The face of a monster who had laughed while children burned. If he surrendered, he would be executed. His family would be shamed. His legacy would be destroyed. Everything he had built would mean nothing. "No," he said, "we will not surrender to humans. We are the Empire. We have conquered 100 worlds. We will not kneel to pray." He turned to his tactical officer. "Launch every ship. Activate every weapon. We will fight." Watched him through the screen. Her face showed no surprise, no disappointment, just acceptance. "Very well," she said. "Then let me show you what monsters look like when they stop pretending." The communication ended, began shouting orders. Ships launched from every dock. Weapons powered up across the planet. They were preparing for the fight of their lives. But they had no idea what they were fighting against. Admiral stood on the bridge of the Silent Fury and watched the fleet approach. 300 ships against 4,000. It was not even close to a fair fight. "Admiral," Captain Minu said, "the enemy fleet is within range." "I see them." His voice was calm. "Open a channel to all ships." Her face appeared on every screen in the Black Fleet. 2 million soldiers listened as she spoke. "For 200 years we hid what we were. We smiled at the galaxy. We traded with them. We made them think we were harmless, and they believed us." Her eyes hardened. "But they forgot something. They forgot where we came from. They forgot what we did to each other before we reached the stars. They forgot that humans are the deadliest species we have ever encountered. Not because of our technology, not because of our weapons, but because of our will, our determination. Our refusal to stop fighting until the enemy is destroyed." She paused and looked directly into the camera. "Today, we show the galaxy what happens when you touch our children. Today, we show them that peace was a choice we are no longer making. Today, we become the monsters they always feared." She raised her hand. "All ships attack." The Black Fleet moved forward like a wave of darkness. Weapons that the galaxy had never seen began to fire. Ships that had hidden in shadow for 2 centuries revealed their true power. The fleet lasted 17 minutes. It was not a battle, it was an execution. On the surface of Prime, people watched the sky light up with explosions. They saw their ships destroyed one after another. They heard their military commanders screaming for help that would never come. And they understood, finally, what they had done when they attacked. They had not killed prey. They had poked a sleeping dragon. High Commander stood in his command center as reports of destruction flooded in. His navy was gone. His defenses were shattered. His planet was surrounded by an enemy that could destroy them with a thought. An officer approached him with a trembling voice. "High Commander, the humans are requesting communication again." Nodded weakly, he had no choice now. Admiral's face appeared once more. Behind her, screens showed the wreckage of the fleet drifting through space. "Your fleet is destroyed," she said. "Your shields are down. Your weapons cannot reach us. This is no longer an offer. This is a statement. You will surrender your leadership to face trial for the genocide of. You will pay reparations to the families of the dead. And you will remember, for the rest of your history, what happens when you harm innocent humans." Lowered his head. The pride that had driven him to order the attack on was gone. The confidence that had made him mock human weakness was shattered. All that remained was a broken commander who had finally met something he could not defeat. "We surrender," he whispered. Nodded. "Smart choice. But the surrender does not end your punishment, it only begins it. You wanted to teach the galaxy that humans were weak. Instead, you taught them that humans are patient. We waited for 2 centuries. We pretended to be peaceful. We let you think you were safe." She leaned forward, and her voice dropped to a whisper that somehow carried through every speaker on the planet. "Never forget what happened here today. And make sure the rest of the galaxy does not forget either. Because if anyone else decides to test us, if anyone else decides to harm our people, we will not give them a chance to surrender." The communication ended. The Black Fleet remained in position, blocking the sun, casting the eternal shadow. a reminder of what they had done, a promise of what would happen if anyone dared to follow their path. The galaxy watched in silence as the human fleet surrounded Prime. Every species, every government, every civilization with access to long-range sensors saw what was happening. They saw the ships that had appeared from nowhere. They saw the Navy destroyed in minutes. They saw an empire that had terrorized 100 worlds brought to its knees by creatures they had considered weak. And they were terrified. Ambassador stood before the Galactic Council 3 days after the surrender. She was a small woman with kind eyes and a gentle voice. She had spent her entire career building friendships between humans and other species. Now she stood before representatives of 100 civilizations, and none of them would look at her. "I understand your fear," she said. "You have seen what we are capable of. You have seen the fleet we kept hidden. You have questions. You deserve answers." The representative from the Union spoke first. His voice was shaking. "You lied to us. For 200 years you lied. You told us you had no weapons. You told us you were peaceful." "We did not lie," replied calmly. "We simply did not tell you everything. And before you judge us for that, ask yourself this. If you knew what we could do, would you have welcomed us? Would you have traded with us? Would you have allowed us to join your council? Or would you have tried to destroy us before we became a threat?" Silence filled the chamber. No one answered because they all knew the truth. "We hid our nature because we wanted peace," continued. "We wanted to be part of this galaxy. We wanted friendship, not war. And for 200 years we had that. We traded. We shared knowledge. We built relationships that benefited everyone." Her voice hardened slightly. "And then they burned our colony. They killed 12 million people. Men, women, children. They did not ask questions. They did not negotiate. They simply destroyed everything and everyone." She paused and looked around the chamber. "What would you have done? If someone killed 12 million of your people, would you have forgiven them? Would you have accepted their lies about self-defense? Would you have sat quietly and done nothing?" The chamber remained silent. "We did what we had to do," said. "We showed what happens when you harm our people, but we did not destroy them. We could have. Our fleet could have turned their planet to ash in seconds. We could have erased their species from existence the same way they tried to erase us, but we did not." She stepped forward, her voice softening. "We left them alive. We left them as witnesses because we do not want war. We do not want to conquer. We do not want to rule. We want the same thing we have always wanted, peace. But now the galaxy knows the truth. You know what we are capable of, and you know what we will do if anyone threatens our people again." On Prime, a young woman named walked through the streets of her city. The human fleet had finally moved away from the sun, allowing light to return, but nothing felt the same. The buildings were intact. The people were alive, but something had changed in all of them. She had watched the human ships block the sky. She had seen her leaders surrender. She had heard the words of the human admiral, and she understood what they meant. They had attacked what they thought was prey. Instead, they had found predators who had been pretending to be sheep. An old man sat on a bench nearby, staring at the sky, sat down beside him. "What happens now?" she asked. The old man shook his head slowly. "I do not know. The humans have taken our leaders for trial. They have dismantled our military. They have left us alive, but they have shown us what we truly are." "What do you mean?" "We thought we were the strongest," he said. "We thought we could do whatever we wanted because no one could stop us. We attacked colonies. We conquered worlds. We called ourselves an empire." He laughed bitterly. "And then the humans showed us that we were nothing. Our entire fleet destroyed in 17 minutes. Our shields disabled by a trick we never saw coming. Our planet surrounded by an enemy we did not even know existed." Looked at the sky, where human ships were still visible in the distance. "Are they going to destroy us?" "No," the old man's voice was hollow. "That is the worst part. They are not going to destroy us. They are going to let us live. They are going to let us remember what we did. They are going to let us tell the galaxy what happens when you hurt their people. We are not prisoners. We are not slaves. We are witnesses, living proof of human power. Admiral stood on the observation deck of the Silent Fury, watching Prime slowly shrink in the distance. The operation was over. The leadership was in custody. The trials would begin soon. Justice would be served. But she felt no satisfaction, no triumph, just a deep, heavy emptiness. Captain Minu joined her. He had changed over the past months. The young officer who had asked to join her crew was gone. In his place stood a man who had seen too much, done too much. "We won," he said quietly. Did not look at him. 12 million people are still dead. My friends, my family, people I served with for 30 years. No amount of revenge will bring them back. Then why did we do this? Finally turned to face him. Her eyes were tired but determined. We did this so it never happens again. We did this so every species in the galaxy knows what will happen if they attack our people. We did this so no more children have to burn while their parents watch. She paused. We did this because peace without strength is just weakness waiting to be exploited. Now the galaxy knows we have both. A message arrived from Earth. President's face appeared on the screen. "Admiral," he said, "the people of Earth are grateful for your service. You have shown the galaxy that humanity will not be victims. You have ensured that our children will grow up in a universe that fears to harm them." He paused. "But now comes the harder part. Now we must rebuild. We must show the galaxy that we are more than warriors. We must prove that we can be trusted with the power we have revealed." Nodded. "I understand, sir. What are your orders?" "Come home, Admiral. You and your crew have earned rest. Let others handle the negotiations and the trials. You have done enough." The communication ended. Looked out at the stars one last time. "Set a course for Earth," she said. "We are going home." The Silent Fury turned away from space and headed toward the blue planet that had given birth to humanity. Behind it, the rest of the Black Fleet followed. 4,000 ships, disappearing back into the darkness they had come from. On 100 worlds, representatives of 100 species watched them go. They had seen the recordings of the battle. They had heard the words of Ambassador. They understood the message that humanity had sent. "Hurt our children and we will come for you, not with anger, not with madness, but with cold, patient, inevitable justice." Some called the humans monsters. Some called them saviors. Some called them the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever known. But most just called them by a new name, a name that would echo through history for generations. The sleeping giants. Awaken at last. And now the galaxy would never forget what they had seen. They would tell their children. Their children would tell their. The story would spread from star to star, from world to world. Once upon a time there was a species that hid its true nature. They smiled. They traded. They made friends with everyone they met, and the galaxy thought they were harmless. Then someone hurt their children. And the galaxy learned the truth. Humans were never harmless. They were just waiting. And now that they had stopped waiting, the universe would never be the same again. The message had been delivered. The monsters had shown their faces. And everyone, everywhere, understood what it meant. Do not touch the humans. Because if you do, they will remember. And they will come. Not today. Not tomorrow. But eventually. Always. And when they come, there will be no place to hide. No defense strong enough. No distance far enough. The humans remember. And they never forgive.